What is up, YouTube kids? Primary back at you with another video, and this is a video of a topic that some of you guys have really been hounding me about over the past few days and weeks, You've been sending messages to me saying, Kazimus, when is this video gonna go up? When are you gonna talk about this? Well, I wanted to wait till I had enough information first before I did this, because the last few times I've done this, I've ended up doing this in multiple pieces because new information comes out, and I'd rather do this once I have enough to get a good video up for the first one. And it is a thoughts on and predictions video, as I've done over the past few years, and it is on the next Kamen Rider series. And that rider, for those of you guys who don't know, is Kamen Rider Ghost. I actually have kind of a unique story where I used that name for a fan fiction I wrote, and I didn't know that was going to end up being the next rider name. So, I guess props to me. Anyway, as you guys are aware, about this time of year is usually when we start getting the rumors of the next rider coming out, and about this time, like July and August, is when it starts becoming official. At least since they've started releasing the series in October instead of September. Usually it would be like they were releasing in June, but now that's changed. And Ghost is actually a pretty unique one, I'll be honest with you. His concept is pretty interesting. Now, I've only read the concept about a couple times, so I could be wrong in a few details, so please excuse me for that. If I get anything wrong, drop me a comment. But basically how it works, it revolves around a guy, and something happens to him, and he ends up getting killed. So, he's dead, but his best friend, who is a girl, is still alive. And she lives in a city that is pretty much overrun and controlled by the main bad guys of the series. And the guy wants to protect her, to keep her alive. So he strikes a bargain with someone, and he's given the ghost driver and the icons so he can come back to life or have his dead body possessed by the rider so he can become Kamen Rider Ghost. The catch is he only has 99 days to do it. Because apparently, like, what will happen is if he's successful in defeating a certain number of these guys, they'll grant him a wish, and his wish will probably be to come back to life permanently. But I don't know. As I said before, I may be a bit rusty, but honestly, based on that concept, I always seem to get this prediction wrong when I do this, but I feel like this rider is definitely going to be one that's like, he just handed the power to him in the first episode, and he has to figure out how to use it as the series goes on. I've gotten that prediction wrong on countless accords. The only times I've gotten that prediction right was with Wizard. Or even, actually, I got that one wrong. Every Rider series where I predict they know how to use it in the first episode, I've gotten that wrong. Drive didn't know how to use it, Gaim didn't, Fours didn't, O's didn't. I have a bad habit of guessing that prediction wrong. But yeah. Another thing, I've been sitting here talking about him for so long, what does he even look like? Well, I actually found this image sometime last night when I got home. Or middle of the night when I was just Googling stuff. I thought that was supposed to reveal it yesterday, the 30th. But it ended up being today. And well, this is our first official, if it'll come out on camera without being too blued out by my MacBook screen. Come on, you. Focus on it. Actually, hang on. It's currently my iPhone wallpaper. Let me see if I can just pull up a picture from the Photos app. It's not really going to come out too well, but this is our first official photo of him. If I maybe tilt it, you can see a little bit better. Now, originally, they said that this year's rider was going to have a fashion motif, and that was eventually scrapped. Not entirely. As part of one of the toy scans that we saw earlier this month, there was a part where, as part of the transformation, the jacket does get put onto him. Like, it kind of slides onto him. So the whole fashion gimmick wasn't entirely abandoned. For the majority, yes, but not completely. And his forms are called tamashis, which some of you guys may confuse with Kamen Rider O's form from the Let's Go Kamen Rider 40th anniversary film that came out back in 2011. But that's what his forms are called. Basically how it works, he has the little ghost icons that are spelled E-Y-E-C-O-N, not with just the letter I. He plugs them into the driver, he pulls a lever, and it changes his forms. And his forms come from basically him being possessed by various famous people of the past. Like, his yellow form is based off of Thomas Edison, It's all yellow and has electric type attacks. And I believe it's the green form that's based after Nikola Tesla. I could be wrong, but I know that all of his forms are based after famous people of the past. And he does this with the aid of the ghost icons, which are these little eyeball probe-looking things. And another thing I always seem to get wrong with my predictions is that I think that, definitely with this series, is that the ghost icons are going to be used only for the forms. I've made that prediction with every other Rider series, and most of the times I get it wrong. I made that prediction with Force, I was way off. I made that prediction with Wizard, I was half right. Actually, I was wrong. I made that prediction with Gaim, just to myself, and I actually ended up getting that one right. And I made that prediction with Drive, and I got that wrong. Who knows, I might get this one right. Who knows. But, that's another thing. His forms are called Tamashis, and each of the ghost icons are what gives him his powers and his attacks, or at least his forms. His main arsenal is, for one, the Ghost Driver, which, honestly, in the picture, looks freaking huge. I mean, literally, a lot bigger than a typical rider belt. So I'm going to have to really see, like, what it's like in the show to figure this out. And his main kind of arms weapon for his default form is the Gongon Saber. Every rider since O's has seemed to have a default weapon in their standard form that they can use, or even in their other forms, I think they've been known to use it. But he does have a default sidearm, the Gongon Saber, which also, I believe, does turn into a gun. And in one of his forms, he does have a double-bladed sword, but I don't know what it's called. We'll find out more about it as the series progresses. Now, I know what you're thinking. When does the series come out? Well, based on what has been told to us so far, Kamen Rider Ghost will premiere on October 4th. That is the first Sunday of October. Kind of picking up kind of like where Drive left off, or like, or not really where he left off, it's a week after it finishes. But they're now starting that trend where the new rider starts in October. Anyone else who kind of remembers these past few rider series from, like, Double up to Gaim knows that the riders, or actually more like Double up to Force, or Wizard. You'll know that the series traditionally used to start in September and would start in September instead of October, but now I don't know why they're doing this. It used to be it would go from year to year, like start in January, end in December, and they're definitely not up with Sentai, like which starts in like February and March, but at least we know the release date. And Ghost will make an appearance in the Kamen Rider Drive summer movie, which I believe is called Surprise Drive. Apparently, like, what will happen is Drive will be off fighting a bunch of Ryu modes, and someone else will come along and help him, and that's all we'll see of him. That's the only way we see the riders in when they make their cameos in the movies. They make, like, help out with one battle, and that's it. Then they disappear. But, I'm skeptical. So, with that said, what do you guys think about Kamen Rider Ghost so far? Or do you have any predictions or any expectations? Let me know down in the comments below. I guess that's about it. Later, guys. I am out of here.